not-so-distant future, the world was awash in a sea of technology. Ordinary lives were entwined with extraordinary devices, and every aspect of existence was defined by the screens that governed daily interactions. Meet David Thornfield, an unremarkable man in his early 40s who found himself adrift in the midst of this digital ocean. He worked at a tech company that specialized in virtual reality, creating experiences so vivid that they blurred the lines between reality and simulation. He had seen technology evolve from the humble days of dial-up internet to the immersive VR experiences of today. But for all the advancements, David's life felt empty. One evening, as the sun dipped below the skyline of his city, David stumbled upon a strange app while idly browsing the digital marketplace. It was called Digital Echo. The app's description was cryptic, and its logo, a distorted face reflecting off a shattered mirror, seemed to draw him in. Curiosity piqued, David downloaded the app, which prompted him to sign in using his biometric data. A surreal sensation washed over him as the app took over his screen. His face appeared, floating in a digital void, resembling a ghostly hologram. "Welcome, David," a disembodied voice echoed. "Would you like to communicate with the past?" David, his heart pounding, hesitated for only a moment before clicking yes. He thought of a younger version of himself, a carefree 20-something, and the memories flooded back. Moments later, his past self materialized before him. The young David, wearing a bemused expression, stood in a recreated scene of his old apartment. The sense of nostalgia was overwhelming. "What the?" he mumbled, trying to touch his younger self, but his hand passed right through. The young David gazed around. "Is this a dream? Or am I, you?" David explained the bizarre app, and soon they were in a conversation that felt surreal. He asked about the past, sought advice, and even offered words of encouragement. The connection between them was uncanny. As the days turned into weeks, David became addicted to these conversations. He shared secrets, regrets, and desires with his younger self. He tried to alter his life's course by advising the past self to avoid certain mistakes. And for a while, it seemed to work. His life improved, and he felt like he was in control of his destiny. However, the more he tampered with time, the more he noticed strange glitches in reality. Events that should have happened never did, creating unsettling consequences. Reality itself became a distorted mirror, reflecting warped versions of his life. He saw himself succeed where he had previously failed, but he also witnessed the unintended consequences of his meddling. One day, he received a call from his boss. "David, we need you to finish the VR project. It's groundbreaking, and we're counting on you." But young David from the past had urged him to quit his job years ago, pursuing his true passion as a writer instead. He hesitated, torn between the present and the past. As he wrestled with this decision, his phone rang again. It was the voice of his past self. "David, remember the app. Remember the changes it can make. Don't be a slave to your job." David, conflicted, abandoned his responsibilities and returned to the app. "I choose the past," he said, closing the connection to his job, and his boss's disappointed voice faded away. Days turned into months as David increasingly lived in his past, seeking happiness he believed was long gone. The memories he rekindled with his younger self became more vivid, filling the void in his life. He was oblivious to the chaos unfolding in the present, where he had once been employed, and the VR project had stalled. His obsession with the app led him to an unnerving realization. The more he tampered with time, the more distorted his life became. He no longer recognized the world around him. The people he once knew were now strangers, and the city was unrecognizable. It was as though the fabric of reality had unraveled. One evening, as he spoke with his past self in the app, young David's expression changed. He wore a grim and weary look that mirrored his older counterparts. "David, we've been altering time for too long. The echoes are getting louder, and I fear we've reached the tipping point." The words sent a shiver down David's spine. He glanced at the empty, unrecognizable city outside his window. Reality had warped to the point where he could no longer differentiate between the past and the present. The echoes of their actions had become deafening. Desperate to undo the damage, David attempted to sever his connection to the app. But it resisted, refusing to release him. The digital void consumed his vision, and he found himself trapped in an endless loop of distorted memories and fractured timelines. In the end, David had become an echo himself, forever stuck in a digital limbo, unable to escape the consequences of tampering with time. His face, reflected in a shattered digital mirror, served as a stark reminder of the perilous boundaries between the past and the present.